The one team I'm the most curious about is the Baltimore Orioles because of all their success. I know there was some interest in Mason Miller, and rightfully so. Very impressive. If they could have more people be selected to the All-Star team, they would have. It's the young core. They don't have to worry about developing these guys anymore. I talked to Brandon Hyde about that. They can set these starting lineups up for success. A lot of that young talent and still some really promising pieces in their farm system. What are you hearing out of the Orioles organization?
I fully anticipate them being in the starting pitching market and perhaps even the high-end starting pitching market because you look at them and they are a team that, I mean, they're just loaded with young talent, and even their minor league system is loaded with young talent. And there's positions that are blocked that they can end up using to trade those prospects to try to upgrade their major league roster and fill a hole. They did it earlier in the year when they ended up acquiring Corbin Burns. And yet, they traded, Joy Ortiz and DL Hall, both very good prospects, but yet it doesn't really impact them long-term because they were blocked. And they still have pieces to trade for another impact starter now. They can go after an impact reliever if they wanted. I think they could really go after both because they're one of their late inning options is Craig Kimbrell. And we saw what ended up happening last year in the postseason where he was a big reason why the Phillies didn't end up making the World Series because his struggles. I mean, it blew some games in the NLCS against the Arizona Diamondbacks. So I think the Orioles got to be really mindful of that. So adding a high-end starter and also a high leverage reliever, I think is going to end up being some of their priorities. And it wouldn't surprise me if they got both, but I fully expect them to get at least one of those. So we'll see.
Yeah, they're my most impressed by. I'm very impressed by what they've been able to do this season. So I saw them in real time and just what they're able to do with these young guys are not playing like they're young guys. And it's rather impressive without even having tipped the iceberg. Like Jackson Holiday, of course, hasn't gotten that much major league exposure yet. And to know that he's just getting better really surprises me. And I think they're only going to get better from here on out for years to come. So that's great to see.
No, me too. And their ceiling is scary high. What is it? What did Michael Jordan say? Their ceiling is a roof. Their ceiling is way above the roof.
It's above the roof. It's the atmosphere for sure.
Oh, it absolutely is. It's in freaking outer space because it's legit. It's legit crazy how the potential that they have. I don't necessarily remember a team with this kind of young talent in my life. I know I've said that a couple times on the show. One with Paul Skeens and two with the Orioles. I promise I'm not trying to be dramatic. Jess knows I like to be dramatic, but it's a very exciting time for baseball with all these young players. It's pretty freaking cool.
I know. And you're right. And I was talking to Aledmys Diaz before we released him, and he's had quite a few years in the league. And he said every year, these guys get younger and it's not, and you meet them and you're like, no, they deserve to be here. And that's kind of cool too. 5 or 6 years ago, that wasn't the case. And with the A's organization, especially, we give them a little bit extra, more chances than perhaps other organizations would. So we're able to watch them fully develop at the major league level, which is also a very unique situation to observe, but they just keep getting younger. And that doesn't mean they're lacking any talent at all. If anything, it's still the beginning of something that's going to continue to get better.
Oh, for sure. They're only going to get better and they're only going to get younger because I know when I first started this, I was younger than most, if not all the players. And now they're mostly younger than me. So I'm feeling quite old right now.